Hello everyone, and welcome to an update to me and my boyfriend's Minecraft world that is hopefully a more forever world. Right here, I am at spawn. I've changed some trees. I've made some custom ones out of diorite. I'm still experimenting with texturing to get birch working, and I made some spruce trees with stripped, not spruce, oak trees with stripped oak and fences, slabs, and staircases. But I still lack a ton of leaves. I have some in a chest right there that I'm still working on. But I wanted to get this video out before Thanksgiving. Anyway, if you haven't watched my first update, this is Spawn. We have a little shed here, and up the hill a little bit, we have a little starter cabin. And I've changed the layout a little bit to the farm. Since I was terraforming this right here, I've gotten rid of all the trees. And I want to add more custom ones. But custom trees take time to make. I don't use anything like Matica, so I don't have any trees in a creative world that I just bring over and use. I create all of them from scratch and change how they look. And so it's a bit more time consuming. And this world technically is more like a hobby, but it's nice to work on. Right here we have a little raised cliff that you can see a giant cave over there. That was naturally generating, and it's a little weird. It tapers off and there's no actual big cave at the bottom. It's kind of just claw shaped. Like a giant claw stuck a claw in there. It has a big entrance and then it closes. But over here we have a cave to a new bridge that from a distance kind of looks like a rope bridge, which is nice. And a lot of terraformed river. This was most of what we were doing before the last video. You can see sand there. I'll show you the updated map in a minute. But I want you to take note of this little waterfall right here. Up here, it continues right there as a little runway of water underground. And if I keep going up this path, we will see a giant bridge, but also the beginnings of a little building right there, which is the Five Woods Lumbery. I like every part of the world to have its own distribution of resources. And this Five Woods Lumbery has a little bit of birch, a little bit of dark oak. Over there you can see a little bit of cherry wood, some spruce, and there's mangrove, but those trees are going to go away eventually. And there's normal oak down there. But right here is where the water returns. And as you can see, there's a little ice up there. So it's kind of like this ice on the mountain is melting, and it's used as a little river right here. That's not a water source. I'll fix that later. But it's turning this little gear that is supposedly cutting logs at the lumbery. And the wood storage still needs to be moved inside. I think we might add a basement later for bigger storage space. But yeah, there's a little nice work over here that took a minute. I need to plant some custom trees. All these tall little stumps are going to be future trees, and these are just going to be little log piles that they're transporting from the Five Woods Lumbery down across the bridge to the city. But right here is a little cave that eventually will be big enough to house tree farms down there. So you don't have to plant trees and break them, and plant trees and break them, and we can just leave the custom trees up here. And I'd like to add more custom trees around there. Probably more oak than birch, but we'll see. And then as you can see, there's another log pile to emphasize that people are transporting wood across the bridge. Now over here is this more terraformed river. This was the last thing I did before starting recording this. I have a little gap there so I can see what I'm terraforming more. And right there is not fully done, but I wanted to get this out before Thanksgiving. In the future, I'd like the river, right where that pillager outpost is to turn that pillager outpost into like a cave. Our nether portal used to be right there, and I want to add it to the cave and have the pillagers kind of be like riverside bandits that steal from any ships that are going down the river to add a little depth and story to the world. But across the river is more of kind of a windswept plains area. I want a few trees, but more plains area. I have some tree stumps planned out right there along the path. But mainly, the path is very curved. I don't have my horse with me right now, so I'm just going to run down it. But you can see that that's the big cave from earlier. And I've done a lot of work with my boyfriend to clear a lot of the foliage so the maps look nice and clean. And eventually I want to add it back in later, but I'm going to work on that a bit more. Right there is a tree I totally forgot about. I'm still changing and fiddling with it. As I said, all the trees are custom, and I don't use creative much. I build it all in survival, and so some things I build just to dismantle and rebuild again. But you can see the wheat field that was across from spawn kind of glowing. There's a lot of little lights just peeking out under there to make it look like the fields are glowing when it's nighttime, which is a cool aesthetic, but not when the monsters are spawning. So I'm gonna take a quick nap. Now, we have a trial chamber way over there in that direction, and we don't have a path connecting it to this bridge yet, but when copper golems were added, I decided that a copper trading wagon, it's a little cool wagon, but also a little odd. It's a little heavy duty because copper's heavy. But I have some little copper golems in here that I wanted them to be transporting just the statue versions, as in like they chiseled out copper statues and they're bringing them to this city. I don't have a name for this city though. So if you guys want to leave a comment to give me name ideas for this city, that would be nice. It's changed its layout from the last update, and the pathways have also changed. But right there is a little kind of apartment style house that we're experimenting with. Right there are two little houses that are just normal, not really apartment sized. There's 2 stories. Right there, I want to build a restaurant thing. Like the first story is a restaurant and the second story is a house for the owners of the restaurant. And as you can see, I want to build a lot of houses against this dirt wall. So I'm slowly getting rid of the dirt and adding more houses in. And right here is the library. You can also give me advice on this, but I was debating moving this tower that's going to be here right here where this sign is. So you can give me your thoughts on if you like the tower there or there. I know it's not fully built, so it's a little big ask of me, but it's a question that I want answered sooner rather than later. And then right here is the city's main barracks. They have a whole training area. There's going to be a whole little training area back here where our enchanting setup is set up in there. But in here they have a little place to eat, upstairs they have a little lookout that they can also look out across through the wall right there. And there's going to be a watchtower right there. And there's just a bunch of stuff that I hid right there because we're using some things. But while I'm here, this is where I've been setting my maps. I don't have a great spot to put these right now. Me and my boyfriend have explored quite a lot of maps. We explored this general area a long time ago, and then we updated our game version, and this weird map generation happened. We haven't fully filled those out, but as you can see, that ice biome, snow biome is not connected. And right here is not really connected either. It's a little odd, the generation, when you get further out. I'll show you a little bit later another area, but that's a bigger map, and this is going to be the future cities. I don't remember what you call the region a city owns, but right here is the city that we have currently. It's still going to get a little bit bigger, like 7 maps bigger. And then over here is the wheat fields. I'm just calling them the golden glow wheat fields for right now because they have little glowing spots under them that I like. And at night, as I mentioned, you can see them glow. Over here, we have a barn that we built. I don't know why Deep Slate doesn't have a roof texture, kind of like this does. I used mangrove stairs and that adds depth to this, but this has no shading depth. The barn roof doesn't, but it does look good on at normal. And over here, we have the mining village. I haven't really worked on that. It's mostly been terraforming this river, and I hope you guys like how it looks. I'll go show you the mining village, the lake, and the windmill, and then we'll have to talk about the future of the world then. But I am going to go over there, and I will be back in a second. Now, across this bridge, I totally forgot to mention before, but right there to right there, and about where that little water mill is to right there, this spot used to be a gigantic village. As you can see, one of the buildings is still left. I'm using it as a shed right now. I haven't refurbished it and remade it. But it used to be a big village. We dug it all out so this ocean would connect to the river. And that's part of why last update video, I didn't even show that there was a village here. I didn't even make maps about it. And then I just started recording like, oh, this could be fun. But yeah, this used to be a giant village, and now it's just a giant river connecting the other rivers with the ocean. I don't remember what it's called exactly in geography terms, but now we're at the fields. This is a little trading area. Currently it's just used for dirt storage and I guess ores. I'll move those around later. Right here we have our little way station where people can drop off their horses before entering the city, because they don't want horses in the city unless they're just traveling through. And over here you can see the barn. So it doesn't look bad, but on the map the roof just looks flat. It's really weird. Hopefully they change that. But as you can see, we made a big enough window so that you can fit little happy ghast in there. And we have some area for sheep and cows and all assortments of animals. I'd like to change the fencing though, so they have a bit more free roam. But that'll come later in a different update video. And here's the inside of the barn. We have some more stations for horses. We have a camel in here. And we have a little office for whoever's working the barn. And again, up there we have my boyfriend and my happy guests. And we have a little custom tree here with a lot of dandelions. But down here, this river will also be terraformed eventually, is the mining village. I kind of disregarded this as I've mostly been working on the city and a lot of the river basically, as well as a castle that will be shown later. I still need ideas for that though, so it's not fully finished. Right here is a little archaeology station, while also leading to mines and hosting ore storage right here. Downstairs is a bunch of stone storage that will need to be expanded upon. But up here is a little archaeology area. I need to add like a table with like a brush or something. But here's a couple of the sherds for pottery pots that we've picked up. And I just put them up here. I think adding paintings to that room will also add to the aesthetic. But over here is the mining village. I was experimenting with a different style of church for the alchemists, priests to work in. Random Enderman. And I was also experimenting with a different style house right here that a mending villager has been using. I'm not stuck on the design for this village yet, so it's bound to change. But it does house so many iron golems, it's insane. The only thing I do want to keep is this little blacksmith here with the staircase leading up to the church. It's a little furbished, as you can see. There's a little room in there, a bed. There's the little working area right here. And then there's a staircase leading up to the second story of the village with a mini church. It's not the biggest or the best, and its roof isn't done, but it's getting there. I'd like to add a quarry across from this little mountain here. That is why this mountain village is right here, is so they can journey through a tunnel into a quarry, and that's where they gather stone. Right here is supposed to be an inn for miners who are just looking for work, and so they come and stay here for a bit, they mine, they earn money, and then they go somewhere else. And their export besides stone is pumpkins as a food source. So this village is all about eating pumpkins. And in there, a little ways up, right there, is a skeleton spawner. We have a little way to get into it. The skeletons fall down here, and we have some storage for their armor, their bows, and so on. As you can see, one just fell down. And then over there, we also have a zombie spawner. Right in that cliff right there. That has the same thing. And something cool about our little area right here is that I want this mountain to be kind of a mine shaft mountain. I don't know why there's random gravel there. Probably an Enderman. But as you can see, we kind of have the makings of a railway all around. This railway connects up to the zombie station and then to a cave on the other side of the mountain I haven't shown. But I think I did show it in the last video. So, yeah. But now I'm going to go to the magical nether portal, which will lead us to the next area I've developed, which I need your guys' opinions and ideas on to help expand it. As there's a lot of things you can add to a castle, and I want to know what you guys may like to see in it, and it'll help me get more ideas for it. But I'm just saying that now before you see it. And mostly I've done the barracks, so that you have your warning that I've mostly done the barracks only, not main other parts of the castle. But I will be back in a second. I think I'm going to make... Well, no, I'll make a thumbnail at the castle. But I will be back once I arrive at my little destination through our nether hub. Right there. Alright, here we are. This is my castle. No, actually, it's right behind me. I should probably get a bit further away so it's easier to see. But right here, what you're looking at is the main barracks area. I'll show you more in depth on the inside. But we have some plans for a bridge. I want a glacier to be down there, like it's melting and slowly going into the ocean. But in here we have a little bit of storage and a place to sleep before you come up here. And these will eventually be a 3-story tall barracks with rooms and hallways. This might lead down to a dungeon. Me and my boyfriend watched Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Well, we haven't finished Lord of the Rings, but we watched The Hobbit. Me and my boyfriend are long distance, so we don't get to see each other very often. So we don't get to watch all the movies all at once. But down there is something special that will remind you, hopefully, of the Lord of the Rings when Gandalf and the other mage, or the Hobbit, rather, where they're going down elven graves. They're going down a large tower that just had like cells and graves, and it'll be cool eventually. But right here, we're gonna have a path that leads up somewhere. And over here, it's a little tricky to traverse right now since not all the pathways are fully done. If you go up this way, the barracks are mainly looking out at the ocean to see if enemy raiders are coming through the ice. Up here we have a little garden area that's covered in snow right now, but eventually it'll have grass and flowers and stuff. And right here we have ballistas. They don't have the wood added to them yet, so they're made out of dirt and stone, but they're meant to fend off dragons, as you will see more reason to later. And up here, you can already see the start of it. I personally think it would be a better ballroom because of its large windows, but it could also be the King's Hall where the King's throne is at the end. It's all down to your suggestions. This whole mountain area I haven't mapped out yet, so we haven't seen the changes, but I'll map it out later. There's a big giant cave under here, a dripstone cave, and I want this whole mountaintop to be a castle area. And so either this could be a ballroom or the King's Hall. The reason I think it should be a ballroom is because right over here we have a way for citizens to come visit the castle. I want to add paintings in here and decorations as like a little, oh yeah, you're visiting the royal area. But down here, the staircase will be a little bit nicer. And through here, there is a kind of security check right here where citizens from the castle city, which is across this bridge you saw before, will come out through and go to royal events such as a ball and such. Although they will still have to be checked by guards, so there's no assassins or anything. Now, I haven't flattened this fully, or even started designing the houses, but eventually this over here will be a little city. While we were working over here, we noticed there was a village here. There's a nitwit who didn't want to come into the little safety area so that he may not be eaten by zombies. But all the other villagers who were attracted by job stations came into this little area that they're a little open roam. They have a lot of beds and little work. But we have a couple librarians here and fishermen and some farmers to keep them alive, I think. That's a problem. I need to change that to a staircase, don't I? Let's not have you die in that. Or that. Or that. But yeah. That's all that there is currently. So, for your guys' time, I would like to see what you think about that being a ballroom, or the castle's courtyard, or the king's throne room, and so on. And what kind of ideas this image kind of gives you. Here, I'll do this for the little thumbnail right now. Boop. Cool. Now, I don't edit my videos or have a lot of mods installed, so you can't see like super far into the distance. There's no shaders or anything. So it's a very survival-based, no modded kind of playthrough. I would like to add a texture pack that changes so flowers have different variants. Like this could be 2 on one block and 1 on one block. I play Vintage Story and Stardew, and in Vintage Story there's a lot of flower variants that are like that. If you want to watch those during Thanksgiving, that would help me out a lot on my channel's growth. But down here, you kind of see this swirly pattern where eventually there will be like cells for prisoners or just for the dead, like in the Hobbit movies. And we have this big fall down here. But at the last cell, or grave, I want someone to have dug into and stumbled upon a weird room that seems to attract dragons from other areas to the end. And we've explored the end. We've only killed the Ender Dragon once out of like 16 times for the other portals. We haven't even found Elytra. The portal that opened up for us is kind of sad and does not have any cities. I was barely able to get like 6 shulker boxes. But now I'm going to show you 2 new areas that we are going to work on and will drastically change before the next map update. So 1 second while I arrive at our first location. Alrighty. I'm not an editing great guy editing. So for bare words, ignore the bad cuts between everything. But here's the first location. We have a bamboo forest and a jungle forest. Oh, that's not good. Oh, 1 moment. Alright, the disaster has been diverted. There is no more tree that has caught on fire. But this will be tricky. As you can see, the nether portal was right there, and it kind of brought me to this jungle. We were exploring areas, and I found this spot. Well, my boyfriend found the jungle, and I was like, really? Because I've been wanting to work in a jungle forever on this world, but we haven't really found one. And it took a minute, but we finally found one. And across from it, across this little hill, is this awesome little cave. At least I don't think it was dripstone. Yeah, it was the overgrown cave. And I just want to change this, but I think it'll be so cool later. This is an area that I want to work on before the next map update, and I hope you'll give me some suggestions or even names of the area that you might want to see, if you want to comment, that is. or like the video. But that's all up to you. Now, back to here. There's an ocean over there, and there's an ocean over there, and it's kind of like a cool little pass that could have some cool, like, bridges, and some, like a village in the trees, you know? I'm kind of thinking Avatar, not Avatar Airbender, but the Avatar movies, the blue people. One's coming out soon, and I'm thinking it'll be kind of cool to have a cool jungle area with cave systems and stuff. But I will get back to my horse and show you the next area that we are definitely going to work on. And it'll be a fun one. So 1 second. All right, we have arrived at our destination. Over here, we have found a kind of decent mesa biome and connected to a savanna. Over here, there is the ocean that has a little bit of a coral reef growing in it. You can see that it's a warm ocean. Hopefully we'll find some ruins to get a sniffer egg. We still don't have sniffers, so I'd like that because then we can get torch plants and the water plants from the sniffers. But the terrain over here is really janky because we updated versions and then the terrain just kind of died and then regrew, but it'll be okay. I am going to be so happy when they add the feature that your horse can swim across the water. I can speak, but as you can see, I've already started a little bit. I've put some sugarcane here for some sugarcane farms and some cactus right there for cactus flowers. And we found this tiny village. I have this guy saved in his house so he doesn't die to any husks if they spawn. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. Someone was dropping something off at the door. And my dogs are still agitated about it, I guess. But right here, I started mapping out a lot of the area. It's a big desert, and there's so much rivers in it. It could be really cool. We have a bunch of different plans. My boyfriend wants to go cowboy themed. I want to keep the fantasy theme. So we're going to have a little bit of clashing in build style here, probably. I do think the mesa right there would be awesome for some cool mine shafts though. So I don't mind the cowboy theme too much. But I do want fantasy desert still. Down here we have a city I haven't fully mapped yet. It's a much larger desert village. And over here there's a lot more desert and some maps. I just don't have the item frames to put down. But that is technically all that's happened in the world update. It has been a long time terraforming those rivers, so if you could like, that would be so much helpful. I am not speaking properly today, I don't know why, but it is cool. Anyway, I hope you tune in to see the future of what happens in this little world that me and my boyfriend are building up. And to give me ideas on the castle, and maybe even some other things like the name for the city at the end of the river by the ocean, or the castle city, or the name of that region. Any suggestions or ideas you have would be cool. Even if you want to add a little lore to the world, I might even include that if you want. That could be fun. But this has been the world. And soon this area will drastically change as we're going to work here now. But I guess this is the beginning. Once I place this ender chest, something new will start. Right here in the desert. But I hope you'll tune in and enjoy, and maybe leave a like and subscribe if you want to continue following my little journey on this, or just watch Vintage Story or my Little League videos and Stardew videos. As it's Thanksgiving, I know a lot of people sometimes don't want to hang out with their families, so if you'd rather, you can watch some of my content instead, or maybe you'll find someone else you enjoy on YouTube as well. There's always the option. But I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time of day it is for you, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.